Okay,
Stay on.
it's live. Hello everyone, welcome to our today's live stream. I'm Zero and I'm from C Studio, and I'm joined today by our application engineer Feynman.
Hello.
Together, we'll take you through some really exciting conversation around the weather data and how to make most of it.
Yes, that's right. We are also been joined a very special guest, Ulrich, co-founder of Benchmark Labs. He's here will show us a very special application, how to combine our application, the weather sensor with their air platform can deliver hyperlocal weather forecast. You don't want to miss this.
Absolutely, and to thank you for joining us today. We've prepared some really special discount on our weather sensors at the end of session. And please note that, and we also prepared the details on how to apply the demo of Benchmark Labs. So stay tuned.
Okay, so today's topic is, of course, weather.
Yes.
We talk about weather every day, but do you know how weather is being measured?
I check the weather forecast on my phone every day. How about you?
So was I. I usually use the phone to watch weathers. But you might notice that sometimes the weather was not so accurate every time. But it was critical for industry like the agriculture, the energies, smart city, where hyperlocal weather will make a difference.
Yeah, I see some old friends comes in. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, as Feynman mentioned, exactly, the hyperweather insights are a total game changer, and we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. So please drop a comment and let us know in what industry do you think the weather data makes biggest difference.
Yep.
Yeah, just feel free to share us anytime. Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
let's continue.
Okay, let's continue. So today's question is, as you can see here, how do you get a hyper weather data? How do you get it?
Yeah,
Take a
so
look. So, I mean, if you want to get exactly temperature in your strawberry field at 3 p.m. today, this was a correct location. So there is our hyperlocal weather coming.
yeah, right. That's where our weather stations shine. They collect a range of environmental data and can display it on different dashboard platforms. Great for agriculture, research, and more. So, by the way, what kind of weather station do we have?
It's time to introduce SenseCAP 2120
Okay,
LoRaWAN
this one.
in-1 weather station. It could provide the hyperlocal weather at your fingertips.
Interesting. So, how do these weather stations collect the data?
Actually, the S2120 is a plug-and-play LoRaWAN device. It can measure basically weather data like the temperature, humidity, wind, and so on. But what exciting me most is it quite both user-friendly. I mean, it's completely wireless, thanks to the solar appliance and ultra-low power consumptions. Paired with the LoRaWAN for wireless data transmissions, you just need to put whatever you want to test, and then it works.
Oh, that sounds really simple.
Yeah.
So, because it's ultra low power consumption, as you mentioned, so the S2120 can achieve up to 2 years battery life, ideal for outdoor harsh environments.
Yes.
So, what's the setup process like?
So let's give a quick introduce.
Okay.
Actually, it's pretty easy. You just need to install the stations at your target locations and then connect it to a gateway. This gateway means that it is LoRaWAN gateway, just like the SenseCAP gateways. So it would send the data automatically to the cloud, and you can view it using dashboard like SenseCAP, the Benchmark Labs, DataKick, or UiDots.
Yeah, awesome. That said, we can visualize the data from different dashboards, right?
Yep, of course, our equipment are always flexible.
Yeah, so can you walk us through the main features of it?
Oh, no problems.
Yeah.
So the S2120 is lightweight and compact, as you can see, just 100 in one hand.
Really lightweight.
And it also includes 8-in-1 sensors. You can see here is include the temperature, humidity, and the air pressures. Also, Here is the wind directions and wind speed. If you want to test the light intensity and the wind index, you could see in here. And also, if you want to calculate the rainfall levels, you might using this part. It could translate the levels of the rain to the date you want. As you can see, here was a solar panels, so that it could help with the low power consumptions, eventually run with 2 years in a single deployment, as just Zero mentioned. Also, responded friendly, just 299.
Okay, so if you're looking for more flexible, professional options, you can also like see this picture. Yes, we have a lot of different all-in-one weather stations.
Yep, just like this one.
Yeah, from S200 to S1000.
Yeah,
yes. So we have so many options. Just feel free to choose the one fits your needs most.
So what I want to say is that it's not just only LoRaWAN communication. You could just pair it with 4G hubs, which could eventually form more possibles. You can also integrate with more RS-485 sensors with 4G hub to detect a wide range of environmentals to collect the environmental data for more possibles.
Okay, and I think if none of these options fit your project, as we showed just now, we can also offer customized surveys to meet your specific needs. Feel free to contact us anytime.
Contact us anytime.
Sorry.
Okay, one moment. So next part would be, just wait a moment.
Yeah, we'll share our weather stations have already been deployed on many real-world applications. For example, it worked great for the solar power. If there's a lot of sunlight but low output, so it can alert you for maintenance, for your maintenance, yes.
Actually, it's very useful for farming. I mean, the agriculture. It's pretty easy, actually. If there were too much rains, it helps to join. Too later, you know when to water.
Yes. So by the way, you mentioned we can visualize the data from different dashboards.
Yeah.
Can users also use them or analyze them or apply the data elsewhere?
Absolutely. Besides visualizing dashboard, we also support API access so that we could just integrate the data into your own system or service. You could do more deeper analysis and automations.
Oh, so now I think that's all about our weather station hardware. And now let's dive into our today's topic. Combine the weather stations with AI for hyperlocal weather forecasting. There's where Benchmark Labs comes in. To introduce the Benchmark Labs platform, it's not only the dashboard, but also a complete solution for the hyperlocal weather forecasting. And now let's welcome our special guest, Ulrich. He's the co-founder of Benchmark Labs. Hi, Ulrich. Welcome. Can you hear us?
How are you guys doing?
Yeah,
yes,
great.
I can hear
Thank you. Yeah. Could you please introduce Benchmark Labs to our audience first?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me. I'm Ulrich, co-founder of Benchmark Labs. So at Benchmark Labs, we specialize in generating point-specific hyperlocal weather forecasts using AI, particularly machine learning-based solution. Our platforms ingest the real-time sensor data from devices just like we were hearing about from the SenseCAP S2120 and produce highly accurate, site-specific, or really sensor-specific forecasts, recommendations, and alerts to improve your operational efficiency. So we started Benchmark Labs with a simple but powerful idea that environmental decisions should be driven by data that reflects the actual conditions where they happen, not broad estimates from coarse gridded forecasts. So our goal is to empower growers, researchers, and different operators to act with confidence based on their microclimate. In short, we produce your weather station with its own forecast.
Okay, thank you, Ulrich. That sounds really exciting. So the hyperlocal weather forecasting matters most for many real-world applications. Could you please share just one example for us?
Absolutely. Let's talk about the Brooklyn Army Terminal project. So this was based in New York City. And the Brooklyn Army Terminal is a major logistics and innovation hub on the waterfront in New York. So due to its proximity with water, the weather there changes rapidly. You can have extremely different wind conditions at the top of the Brooklyn Army Terminal building, is out on Pier 4, is out on any of the different piers in that area. And you see lots of different boats coming from the NYPD, from the New York Metro, from offshore wind installation and more at that location. So we installed the SenseCAP S2120 weather station to collect on-site data right out on Pier 4. So we're collecting temperature, wind speed, wind direction, pressure, and so on. And then we fed that data into our AI platform to generate hourly forecasts for the next 10 days, specific to that point on the pier and the terminal itself.
Wow.
And that was really helpful to the different maritime users.
Pretty useful.
Yeah, it seems your solution worked well in the BAT project. So can you walk us through the full workflow, like from the setup to AI forecasting?
Absolutely. So the process is very simple. It starts when a user installs a supported weather station, just like the S2120, and a solution for connectivity. So once a station is installed and is transmitting data and is connected to the internet, the user provides Benchmark Labs with their API key and station location. And there's some great wiki pages from Seed on how to get that API key. And from there, our platform ingests your live sensor data, so variables like temperature, humidity, wind speed, and more, into our machine learning models. And then these models are trained to understand the specific kind of unique environmental dynamics at each location where you have a station. And they adapt over time as more data is collected. So instead of treating all users as the same, our system creates sensor-specific forecasts tuned to each individual sensor microclimate. So after purchasing your Seed weather station, you'll be linked to Benchmark Labs to purchase your point-specific weather forecast for your station. The sign-up process is simple. Generate your API key and share that and your location with us, and then we'll share with you a login for Benchmark Labs.
Gotcha. So the customers need to provide just the API key and the installation location, right? That's where I think that's very convenient for them. So I have one question. Yeah, we often get, how accurate are the forecasts from Benchmark Labs AI platform?
That's a great question, and it's one we're proud to answer. So it's in our name as Benchmark Labs. After all, we benchmark against other weather forecasts and weather services.
Yes.
So compared to publicly available forecasts, like those from the National Weather Service in the United States, our models are up to 85% more accurate. That's in terms of root mean square error. And that is impressive, and it's because we tailor each forecast to the actual location of the sensor it's being generated for, rather than relying on the broad gridded model, which could be 10 kilometers or even 1 kilometer in scale. So another way of describing this performance is that our 7-day forecast is 3 times as skilled as the 24-hour forecast from the National Weather Service, a common benchmark.
Yep, cool. I think everyone is eager to see what it actually looks like. Could you show us a demo?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I will share my screen here.
Okay.
So let me know when you can see the dashboard.
Yes.
It works. Excellent. So what you're looking at here is the login actually for the Nature Conservancy. So a long-standing customer of ours. They have many use cases in agriculture and controlled burns, and they have different weather stations deployed all across the United States in this case. And they wanted point-specific weather for their weather stations. So here you can see this is actually in Minnesota, in Tallgrass Aspen Parkland, and they have a station that they've named Minnesota Tallgrass Aspen Parkland, just like the SenseCAP stations we were discussing. At the top here, you can see what the actual station data reads, their temperature, max and min temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, direction, and so on. Here on the dashboard, you can see those same variables forecasted out for the next 10 days. So this is temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, and direction, precipitation. And then we take it a step further and also provide evapotranspiration, which is very useful to some agriculture use cases, and then cloud cover as well.
Yes,
you can double click into any of these particular variables and actually look at every hour going out for the next 10 days to understand exactly what your temperature, relative humidity, wind speed, and the like is going to be.
It's pretty clear.
You can put these metrics in a number of different units, including the metric system, US-based units. We also support a number of different languages as well that you can change in your settings. Something that we do, I think, very well is work with individual customers to understand what weather variables are important to them and how they would like those weather variables visualized. So for the Nature Conservancy in particular, they came to us and said, hey, we have a really unique problem, and that's that we work with controlled burn teams, and they need to go out into preserves, maybe 200 miles in a unique remote area and do a prescribed fire, and it's an extremely weather sensitive activity. And they need to know precisely what the wind speed is going to do at that location for them to safely do a burn. And so we built them this burn cast, and here you can see a fire weather variable. It's essentially a red, yellow, green of whether it's safe to go out and to burn. And this is based on a number of variables like mixing heights, transport wind speeds, ventilation rate, Haynes index, and more. We also have KBDI drought index, a dispersion index, UV index, all variables that are very unique to this use case. Similarly, we've been able to work with farmers to understand their needs and generate growing degree days, chilling hours, the water deficit at their location, and even create the first available unique pest and disease models where we're looking at something like powdery mildew for a vineyard and saying, what is the pest pressure? What is the threat from powdery mildew at your specific weather station going out every hour for the next 10 days? Similarly, we've connected to smart buoys, and we've taken a look at wave casts for wave height, wave period, and more. And finally, you can see a satellite view of your station and look at different layers. So you can see exactly where this station is located here.
Yeah, thank you so much
So
for,
this is,
yeah. Yes, sorry,
Oh, go
please
ahead.
continue.
Absolutely. So this has all been a very successful endeavor. For the case of the burn cast, to continue there for the Nature Conservancy,
Yeah.
they've been able to save about $3,000 per burn, where they have these false positive events where they think they can take an action, and they find out that, hey, we can't do a burn this day because the wind speed is going to be incorrect.
Yeah.
They also have saved up to $10,000 in some of these false positive events from fire suppression aircrafts that they've been able to say, hey, we don't need this aircraft on standby because we won't be doing a burn. So this is very useful to these
That's
controlled
right,
burn
pretty
teams.
useful.
There's similar use cases for maritime and agriculture as well.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing such detailed introduction to the AI platform, and I think it's very powerful combining our weather stations with benchmark labs. The raw data is no longer the just numbers. I think it can be a decision making tool. So that said, the really turns the data into the actionable insights. So Ulrich, which industry do you think your solution benefits most?
Another great question. So at Benchmark Labs, we like to say weather touches everything. And so we see strong adoption across several sectors. Agriculture is a big one, especially vineyards, orchards, specialty crop farms, even row crops like corn and soybeans, where microclimates can dramatically vary over short distances, right? From one top of the hill to the bottom, you could have really different temperatures that could affect your grapes. So ABC News recently covered that we save farmers 10% of their water usage and increase yields 50 to 100% in some cases.
Wow.
We also serve the offshore wind and maritime sectors, where weather conditions can impact safety and cause millions of dollars in delays. Additionally to that, our technology supports use cases in construction, insurance, conservation, and even fire management, as I was showing you earlier with the burn cast. So anywhere accurate location-specific weather insights. So we can help you drive better decisions.
Yes, thank you so much. And I think it's a very comprehensive solution for the researchers, farmers, or the developers alike. And I think we've already prepared some Q&A questions for you. Yeah. So
actually, I got a question, Ulrich. Besides the S2120, do you support the other weather station?
Yes. So we support weather stations from any hardware provider. We are an Android-like hardware agnostic solution. However, we do have the strongest partnership with Seed Studio and yourself, and we're really excited by the performance of your weather stations and everything we saw with the Brooklyn Island Terminal project, for example. So we can support stations and offer data from a single API for a dozen or more providers. As long as the device sends standardized environmental data, we can integrate it into our platform. So some users find a lot of value in actually being able to pull many different station providers and forecast from a single API. So alongside the dashboard that I showed, you can also go in and pull all this data from the API and visualize it yourself, if that's something that gets you excited.
Yeah, that's
Great.
very convenient. And how long is your forecast range?
Oh,
Yeah, we offer 10-day hourly forecasts with a resolution for, that's point specific in 3D space. So if you have 10 different stations deployed, you would receive 10 different forecasts, and you would get 10-day forecasts every hour for each one. And if you send us an email at info@benchmarklabs.com, we can work with your location to provide, seasonal forecasts as well in some cases and go beyond those 10 days. And we can work with your team to provide a number of novel variables beyond what we've shown today, including lightning, fog, and more. So just, meet with us and tell us what's important to you, and we can add that for you.
Yeah, that's right. So as you mentioned that the Benchmark Labs offer 10 days forecast. So what if the customer want a longer forecast? For example, just like 15 days or 20 days?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we can offer these seasonal forecasts and go beyond the 10 days for any particular point. So in fact, if you do not have a weather station at a specific location, we can still offer you forecasts. We take the best available forecasts from a number of different weather models, and we'll benchmark those and treat them as an ensemble to find the best performance for your location. And in many of those models, they provide these seasonal forecasts. The local data from your weather station for machine learning training that's point specific isn't always valuable to look, say, 90 days out at every hour, right? So the mathematics don't always support that, but we can provide forecasts for longer scale. Absolutely.
Okay, thanks for the answer. Another question is your forecasting module the generic or customized?
Yeah, great question. Our models are customized pair location, pair sensor. So unlike traditional models that treat broad regions the same, 10 by 10 kilometer box gets the same temperature, ours learns from the actual environmental data at your exact location. So your forecast is tailored to your station's microclimate. So each station you have connected will receive its own forecast. So Benchmarks Lab's slogan is your farm, your field, your forecast. So for example, if you have 50 stations at your farm, you'll receive 50 different forecasts, each at the location of your station in 3D space.
Okay, gotcha. So I think our audience may already have a comprehensive understanding of Benchmark Labs. And can you share your customer testimonial with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me share another screen here.
Okay.
And can you all see the PowerPoint I'm sharing?
Yes, we can see.
Wonderful. So as I mentioned earlier, ABC News 7 recently covered a grower in California, and he reported 50 to 100% yield increase at his ranch. He was growing avocados and lemons and other citruses. He also reported up to a 10% reduction in water usage. So wanted to introduce him here. This is Jason Cole. He has a lot of issues that are related to weather. So he has excessive fertilizer use. So he'll actually spray pesticides and fertilizers onto his plants. And then it will rain within that same day, and they'll all wash off, or the wind will blow and those pesticides and fertilizers will blow away. So that can be hundreds of dollars wasted per acre. He also can turn his sprinklers on, which can be set to automated systems when it's going to rain within the next 24 hours and he didn't know, which can waste all of that water usage across his acreage. And he can also face significant yield loss from things like frost or powdery mildew, where he really needs to understand when these weather events are going to happen at his ranch and how he can take mitigation techniques to prevent them. So his issue today is that the weather data he's receiving is too coarse to serve these specialty crops. So the weather forecast he's receiving is actually 6,000 acres in scale. So 6,000 acres gets one temperature, when in reality, if you look inside that box, there's a number of microclimates where there could be lots of sun, there could be rain on one side of a mountain and not the other, and so on. And these are really inaccurate global models. And what these farmers, in Jason Cole's cases, have begun doing is buying privately owned weather stations. So just like the SenseCAP, they purchase these weather stations, they install them, and those stations are getting current state data and then saving that as backwards looking data, which is useful. But I think the next layer to that is the pinpoint point specific forecast that Benchmark Labs offers. And so we provided this to Jason Cole, and he was really interested in particular variables, not only temperature and wind speed, but evapotranspiration, which is the amount of water he's actually losing from his field. So if precipitation is water in, evapotranspiration is water out. He's been very interested in powdery mildew indexes, so understanding what pests are growing in his field and where he needs to spray pesticides and when. And when, more importantly, perhaps when he doesn't need to spray pesticides, and when he can save money in doing so, and also growing degree days. This has all led to some actual insights that allowed him to save resources, reduce pesticides, and improve yield. And this led to pretty amazing testimonial from him, reporting this, 50 to 100% increases in his yield in some locations. So we were very, very excited to see that.
Yes, that's impressive. And I think thank you so much for the awesome projects and the testimonial sharing. And I've got some questions from the chat box. Let's see. For what's the scale of the micro forecast?
Yes, great question. So when we talk about microclimate forecasting, we're talking about a truly point-specific forecast. So we have growers with weather stations above and below canopy. So the same point on the z-axis, they have two stations. You would actually get two different forecasts, both at the same XY coordinate, but at different heights. And so you could think about the different wind speeds. This might be really important to a grower. It also might be really important to, say, an offshore wind turbine, which is the size of the Eiffel Tower out on the water. And so they want the wind forecast not at 5 meters, not at 10 meters, but all the way up at that, extreme height. So we tailor the large scale forecast down to the specific point where your SenseCAP weather station sits. So if you have, again, 50 weather stations, you would receive 50 different forecasts. And you can click through those on your dashboard.
Okay, thank you. I hope this answer will fit the questions. And another question is, what's the cost of the service?
Yes, absolutely. So we're excited to share. Typically, the service is $2,000 in USD per station per year. If you reach out to us over this weekend, we have a special discount that's 50% off. So it will only be $1,000 per station for the entire year. So we're really excited to announce that. So please reach out on our website, fill out the form. You can even schedule a time with me directly or email us at info@benchmarklabs.com.
Yes, we'll share the link in the chat box later as well. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions for Ulrich? Just feel free to drop the comment and let us know. Yeah. Okay. So, yes. Thank you for sharing so much awesome project and the platforms with us. And I think if you'd like for all of you who are watching the live stream, if you'd like to try Benchmark Labs, the AI platform, you can just sign up through the link shared in the chat box later for the demo application as well. So please, Ray, please share the link in the chat box, please. Yeah. Okay. Wait a moment. Yeah, we'll share the link later in the chat box. Okay, another question. Is there a guarantee to the accuracy of the forecast?
Great question. So yes, weather is different in different parts of the world, right? So if we're forecasting rain in San Diego, that's a bit easier than rain on the East Coast, right?
Yes.
So the 85% error reduction that I mentioned is out in a preserve that's actually 100 kilometers away from the nearest weather station from the publicly available models. So those sort of performances are ones that we expect anywhere on the globe. We do not have a set performance that we guarantee. However, if you're unsatisfied with your performance of your forecast in any way, we'll refund you within that same year that you subscribe. That's no problem. Just come and speak to us, and we can work something out together.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Someone just mentioned which one is better for the rainfall. Actually, I want to say is the S1000 and the S2120 It's both okay, but this one is more professional, but they are all working good with the benchmark AI platforms. They all could connect to the platforms and analyze the data by the AIs, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, absolutely. We can connect to any of the stations you guys
Yeah.
have available. We saw great performance and had a great experience with that SenseCAP Eaton 1 weather station in particular, but
Yeah.
we can connect to any hardware.
Let me save the other question.
Okay, discover new applications in the phone. Okay, are there any plans to do some where you might get a discount or buy seats if the nearby customer is using info from your stations to feed their forecast? We'll offer the we'll later offer the special discount for our the whole solution of 4G and LoRaWAN solution demo kit, the weather station demo
The
kit.
skilled part just later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Is there any new questions? Okay, so I think it's time for our special offer.
Okay, it's time for our special offer.
Yeah, thank you so much for our work, and please, if there will any other new questions later, I'll ask you later.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Ulrich.
Let's dive into our special offer. Just the comment mentioned. Yeah.
Okay, as you can see here, it's time for a special offer. The SenseCAP IoT 4G Solutions Demo Kit and the SenseCAP IoT LoRaWAN's Demo Kit are 15% off. Simply choose your preferred options and apply the promotional code, and then you get 15% off on the C-Studio Bazaar.
Yes, please note the promotional code. Just simply apply the code when you place the order, and it's 15% off. I think it's a very high discount.
Yep.
Yeah. If you'd like to try the demo kit, or just want to sign up for the Benchmark Labs the demo, just you can let's share the link in the chat box, please. The demo case. Yes.
Yep. So if you have any problems when you're using the weather station, we use with the platform, whatever is SenseCAP, Craft, or Benchmark Labs, just feel free to contact our support teams.
Okay. If there are no any more questions for Ulrich or us, that's all today. And thank you for joining us today. And thank you very much for Ulrich.
Thank you, Ulrich.
Yeah, please check.
Thank you, guys. Thank you as well.
Yeah. And from the sensors to AI, we've got through the entire process of how the raw data can become the valuable insights. We hope this inspires you to building your weather forecasting project as well. If you have more questions or ideas, just feel free to reach out to us anytime. Yeah.
Not at all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ulrich.
Thank you, Ulrich, and bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, all
Thank you,
of
everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Let me check. So just write down this code, and you could also say it in the bazaars. Try to get one and try the AI platform with benchmarks. That is all. Thank you, everyone. Thank you today.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.